So this one magic word for excellent quality interview is smile. The interview. Neither the test of your command over information nor knowledge. It is the test of yourself. Because you are asking for a government job, your answers are required to be pro-government or something. That's a misconception really. And what is more important than that is you go on to be the clean and efficient officer who serves India, which means who serves people and makes India proud. Namaste friends. First of all, and as always and forever, all my best wishes for you. It is my pleasure to have those best wishes forever. It is even a greater pleasure to share those best wishes with you. I am starting by taking this pleasure, this honor of wishing you all the very best. This talk is focused on how to give excellent interview. The focus of this interview is on UPSC interview, but the principles would hold good for any interview anywhere in the world, so India included. Therefore, I am also taking pleasure to congratulate you for having cleared UPSC main exam. And now as we prepare for this UPSC, the final stage, the tough, the grueling one, those golden letters that you want behind your names, all my best wishes for all of you. And I wish all the best that you go on to succeed. And what is more important than that is you go on to be the clean and efficient officer who serves India, which means who serves people and makes India proud. So all my best wishes forever. If anyone ever tells me to share one single example of how to give an excellent interview, then that single word, my most favorite word is smile. Smile is that magic word. We take too much of tension and we think, what's going to happen to me? And there are those 5 seniors sitting over there. And what if I'm not able to answer some question? What if I'm not selected? And so on and so forth. If you can stay cool, hold your nerve, basically maintain your poise, be relaxed, the smile will automatically appear. So this one magic word for excellent quality interview is smile. Remember that the panel that sits there is not your enemy. In fact, if anything, they are your friends. Normally, most of the interviews for most of the times would take place in a very friendly, jovial exchange of views. If at all anyone from among the panel ever comes up with a hostile question, it's not because they are your enemies, but because they want to test you. In fact, my suggestion from this interview to rest of the life is to welcome hostile questions. Normally, best of the bowlers do not bowl a bouncer at like player number 11. Bouncers are meant for Gavaskars and Sachin Tendulkars and Rahul Dravids and now Virat Kohlis and Rohit Sharmas and now Pant, etc. So if we learn to welcome even challenges in life, difficulties, so hostile questions in the interview situation, it actually means that the panel is thinking high of you. So the panel wants to put you to test. Let's see, this is a good batsman, let's see how he or she negotiates a tougher delivery. So nothing to worry if hostile questions come your way. Similarly, also remember that actually interview means it's a selection process. As far as UPSC is concerned, prelim and mains, they were processes of elimination. So like million people might fill up the form, best of the brains in India. About 500,000 may turn up for actually the prelim, and here we are like just less than about 2,000. You are on the brink of fulfilling your dream. The process of elimination is over. The moment you walk into the interview hall, panel actually is sitting there to decide who to pick up now. And that person is going to be an officer with like Government of India and rest of the responsible places. It's a selection process. Also remember that interview is not the test of your command over information alone. Interview is also not the test of your command over knowledge. Those were prelims and mains. So the very purpose of a multiple choice type objective exam is to first of all test your command over information. And straight right or wrong answers. Your thinking capacity is also put to test in prelims, but the main purpose is anyone who wants to go on to be officer must first of all base whatever opinion one forms, views forms, not on prejudices or anything, but on solid rational ground, and that you have like data to substantiate. So prelims. Once you clear that, main exam is now the test of your command over knowledge. What separates information from knowledge is your capacity to apply that knowledge, to put it all together, to understand many sides of a given question and then apply independent mind, come up with a conclusion. Lastly, and I would say equally importantly, your capacity to state it in given number of words. And then finally the interview. Neither the test of your command over information nor knowledge, it is the test of yourself. So it's not wrongly or accidentally that this is actually called the personality test. So when you enter the exam hall, it's you are you. So the magic, and I repeat my most favorite word, is smile. You can actually smile only if you are relaxed. You can relax if you have that peaceful mind. And okay, any questions that come my way, I will consider them. If I can answer, I will. If I think I can't, maintaining my poise, I will say, I'm sorry sir, I don't know, or I'm sorry madam, I don't know. In the interview situation, nobody is expected to be knowing everything. In fact, nobody can ever be in the know of everything. It doesn't show a person in any bad light to say, I'm sorry sir or madam, I don't know. In fact, it takes courage. So shows a personality trait that okay, this person is capable of saying, I'm sorry, I don't know. Which means the mind is open. Now you are ready to listen, you are ready to learn, and you don't hesitate. There is no narrow ego trying to shove any kind of ignorance under the carpet and just pose as if you know everything. Not required. So that single magic word is smile. But smile, of course, in the light of the nature of the question. I suppose that goes without saying. So if you encounter a serious kind of an issue or some injustices in society, crime against say women or weaker sections of society. That's not, of course, I mean, am I even required to say so? That is about poise. So what I'm saying is, normally the smiling, which means energetic demeanor, be happy that you are there. This is not something to be tense about. That happiness will help you relax. So that magic word is smile. Next to smile, the single most important principle of an excellent interview is the phrase, being one's own natural self. I believe from interview to life this is true. You be what you are. Don't and never try to be what you are not. Never try to be somebody else. I am reminded of a great line from Gurudev Tagore's poem. But the line reads something like this. Oh God, let me not present myself wrongly to the world and set it against me. So it's like this is what I am. Being one's own natural self. Try to be somebody else. False emulation, you can't come up with that. And end up by making a sorry face. So, oh God, let me not present myself wrongly to the world. So interview also would mean presenting oneself rightly to the world. Although I have worried that, okay, Gurudev does say, let me not present myself wrongly to the world and set it against me. What if I present myself rightly to the world and set it against me? But that's a different problem. We'll negotiate it some other day. Being one's own natural self. That also doesn't mean we don't fine tune. So yes, we do fine tune. Being one's own natural self. Like normally I move around with disheveled hair. Men may grow beard and not maintain it properly. And my choice of dress may normally be like jeans. More torn they are better. And I won't mention which part of the jeans they are torn. So all fine. Or like I like to move around in shorts. By fine tuning, I mean you are presenting yourself for a certain job. It's a responsible position. And you need to convey that message in the natural way, not artificial, not trying to be some. I am calling that as fine tuning. But the basic approach to interview is being one's own natural self. That is also like a cardinal principle of being a winner in life, really. Even in cricket, the term is that the team is required to chase a huge total. There is a huge burden on one's chest. And the question is, how do you arrive on the pitch? How do you play every ball? So this great cricketing term is, put your head down and play your natural game. Again, this is true from interview to life. Put your head down and play your natural game. So okay, we have to chase a huge total. If you take a burden of that huge total, it will affect your negotiating the next delivery. So another beautiful principle is take one ball at a time. Play one ball at a time. So you are there and the interview panel commences questioning. Take one question at a time. And don't be worried whether you were able to answer that particular question to either your or panel satisfaction. Again, your subjective impression about whether your answer satisfied the panel or not. Don't be worried about that. And also don't be carried away if you think that what a beautiful answer you have given. And it's like I'm going to be the topper and my photograph is going to appear on very many magazines. Next time they let them appear. Best wishes for that. You take one ball at a time. So put your head down and play your natural game. Being one's own natural self within a certain framework and a proper fine-tuned. This is the name of the game. But being one's own natural self requires you to understand what is your self. That is our Indian and global universal principle, knowledge of the self. When you walk in, you should know what you are and who you are. This is our journey into like soul searching, and then for the interview purposes, whatever, like let's say 25 to 35 minutes, we have to present ourselves in a proper like context. It's a diamond in a proper context. So next to smile, I use 3 cardinal words. One is self. My second word is honest. And by honest, I am not only referring to corruption-free administration and no casteism and no narrow sectarian or like hatred towards any section of society, etc., etc. That is there, that's a must. But when in interview context I am using the words honest, I mean your honest answer. I mean being honest to oneself. So whatever question comes up, it should be your honest answer. Don't worry too much about whether you are satisfying the panel. There are 5 persons sitting there. Each one of them would have different perspectives and views. Who are you going to try to satisfy? So we owe it to ourselves. Be honest to oneself. For example, sometimes some of us are given to understand that because you are asking for a government job, your answers are required to be pro-government or something. That's a misconception, really. As long as the answers are balanced, as long as you don't cross the boundaries of basic human decency. Therein, 3 of my favorite words summarize everything: Constitution, laws, and basic human morality. This is the framework. But within which, for certain given decisions, you want to state in the interview that, I'm sorry sir, I don't agree with this government policy. Or you want to have a counter. I'm telling you, it's perfectly okay. In fact, rather than being artificial, which actually a harsher word for it is lying, not required. What is required is your answer should be honest to yourself. There are really hundreds and hundreds of like debatable or controversial or some even extremely explosive issues that may come up in the interview. Our job is to have studied the issue carefully, not have a single track mind, be aware that given any issue there are many aspects and methods of looking at that issue, and yes, there could be differences of opinion, and yes, we will respect differences of opinion, but the mind that is required is the one that has applied itself to these various aspects, then formed opinion. And even as other aspects are respected, one has the capacity, the communication skill also to present it in a proper way. That's what I mean by honest. Again, another of an example is where you may be asked about a hobby. And I wonder how sometimes some of us are given to understand that everyone must have a hobby. So maybe on DAF or something you fill up some hobby and then anticipate questions and prepare for that hobby. So I'm actually happy I don't agree with this. Views may again differ even among the panel members. But then is it really like should everyone really have, and can everyone really have a hobby? So it's okay if I don't have a hobby. I'm effectively using my 24 hours and whatever. So hobby, by honest I mean if you have a hobby, then and only then state it. No artificial attempts. But once you say you have a particular hobby, then prepare for that. Then there are like practically infinite number of questions that can come up on that hobby. So second of the 3 words I want to share with you is honest. An honest answer. Honest to yourself. Again, please think of the questions. A very normal question in this interview setup is, why do you want to join civil service? Very normal question. Every once in a while it will keep coming up. Especially, let us say, engineers or doctors are like very highly qualified youngsters. Maybe they are already working somewhere and drawing rather big fat salary also. Why do you want to quit that and come here? And you are a doctor. Is it not like many permutation combinations are possible? You are a doctor. Are you not depriving the society of a skilled person? You are an engineer. Why do you want to join? All permutation combinations. Again within which one question before I even share with you, I will already say, in a way it is unfair question, unjust question, but that's what it is, and the question may come up especially and maybe only for women candidates as to how are you going to balance career and family life. I repeat, this is unfair question. Is this question ever asked of a man? It is almost presumed that, okay, wife is like, she is going to take care of all family life, and if an officer is transferred along with that officer, even wife will go. But the question does come up. And of course, there are many outstanding officers in the service, women, who have done their family proud, who have done India proud. And it's no more the days. No walk of human life is now like closed for women, or as if women can't perform over there. But by and large, the question may come up. I'm coming to that basic point, that on all such questions, your honest answer. Why do you want to join civil service? It's not like everyone should come up and give the standard parroted answer. Parrot out, I want to serve people. If you're honest about that, then say so. But if you want to say that this job offers like stability, and like after 7th pay commission, the salary structure also is good, and on my honestly earned money, I can live a higher standard of life and offer it to my like spouse and kids, etc., and I can take care of my parents. What? All okay, I'm saying. Short of utterly immoral approaches or answers, your reasons for joining civil service, you want to say this is stability, there is a great status associated with this job, so your position in the society changes overnight. Till yesterday you are like Mr. or Miss Nobody, and then the UPSC results come out, you have been selected, and again, let's say selected, like you are among the toppers, your position changes. It's a fact. Somebody says, I want that. I don't see anything wrong in it. Lying is wrong. Dishonesty is wrong. So, but if you mean that you want to join civil service because it's an opportunity to serve the country, and in the process I'm going to like get honest money, stability, security, all okay. I'm still saying your honest answer. That was my second word. Third word is spontaneous. It's interview situation. Please remember, it's not only question and answer. It's not like you're sitting there only and all the time waiting for the next question. It's interaction. They are sitting there 20, 25, 30 years senior to you, and they are interacting. So you should be relaxed, and the way you answer is spontaneous. Spontaneous doesn't mean not preparing. We do prepare. All Gavaskars and Tendulkars and Kohlis do practice in the net. And while practicing, they do ask the bowler to bowl a particular ball, so I develop my skill in it. But if they approach an actual match with this preconceived notion that the next ball is going to be like this and I'm going to play like that, then India is in trouble. They are in trouble and India is in trouble. Spontaneity means prepare, be ready. But when you play out there, it should be easy flow of your everything, diction, gesticulating, the answers you give. We do prepare for some of the answers. On one side, the syllabus for you interview is anything under the sun. And in fact, even that phrase, I think, is now old one. It's not anything under the sun. It's anything beyond the sun, beyond the solar system, rest of the universe, now many universes and whatnot. So the question can really be anything. We do try to classify them into, I'm going to share with you. But like the mind is ready and we do prepare. But when I say spontaneous, I am referring to the way you speak. By spontaneous, I mean not preparing. By spontaneous, I mean the way you speak in an easy way. Well thought out, but easy way. Not the standard pre-prepared answers which you parrot out, and if an expected question comes up, suddenly the speed of your flow increases. And suddenly if something out of the blue comes up, and panel would be on the lookout for it. That you can take it from me. That panel will judge that you are already prepared for some particular questions. Panel may decide to bypass all of them. Suddenly think of something completely out of. Are you going to be taken completely aback? So the third word I mean by spontaneous. All these three also will help you smile. It's a mutual relationship. Smiling, relaxing will help you express one's own natural self, be honest and spontaneous. And if you can bring yourself to also practice, that's why mock interviews are there, then by being honest and natural self and spontaneous, you can almost automatically learn to relax. The smile will automatically come. Being relaxed is important. Now, having stated these main areas, I will talk to you in two parts. One is what I call as the technical aspects of the interview. Then the second one would be addressing ourselves to the content. In the process of doing these two, I will almost automatically be also talking about some don'ts. Like I expect you to have noticed already, I'm sure you have. I've already spoken about some don'ts. Don't just mug up the answers. Don't talk, don't give the answers like you have parroted the answers. So some of the don'ts they will naturally evolve. So the first aspect is some of the technical aspects. I call them technical aspects. For example, again, like reach on time, etc. I would talk like parents would talk. Ensure that all certificates are with you. Suddenly on reaching UPSC office, you find that you have forgotten a particular certificate or whatever. I mean, hundreds of things. So like about half an hour before your assigned time, just stay cool. Don't go to either of the extremes of like being a chatterbox or like you have proceeded on to fast unto death. Just sit there relaxed. Then of course when your friend's interview would be going on, the next one would be waiting there outside the hall and you would be intimated that okay, after that you are there. Keep yourself ready. Then it's little bit about dress. A proper dress meant for one who is asking for the job of an officer. An officer who is not then going to be there for like 25 or 30 years, hopefully serving people, and in the process increasing one's own grasp over knowledge, competence, everything. Sometimes, I mean, one English sentence is, first impression is the last impression. And there are many books on psychology which have also argued that first impression is not the last impression, and first impression may not be the last. All true, but in the interview situation it does matter. So now you are to walk in. So like you knock gently, push the door slightly, and you already know your panel. So if the chairperson is sir, or if the chairperson is madam, accordingly say sir or madam, may I come in? It's about dress, because the moment you appear there at the door, all five, please remember, panel members also are human beings. So they take a look at you and then you walk like about 4, 5, 6 steps. I will repeat, first impression may not be the last, but a proper statement, it's your statement. So broadly speaking, as far as men are concerned, it could be proper office wear, a softer style of colors, not zany, not outlandish. And you want to wear a tie, ensure that it is properly done. I don't think it's all compulsory. You want to wear a suit, it's all okay as long as you are comfortable, that you are going to sit there in the chair and be like spontaneous. Otherwise, a normal trouser, a shirt, there also if it's going to be a full shirt, then the sleeves should be properly buttoned. And all buttons also should be properly like closed. That's all. That's what I mean by being spontaneous. For women candidates, as far as UPSC is concerned, by and large, I think two types of dresses are like okay or welcome. The standard Indian national, I would say, beautiful dress that has been going on for like thousands of years, the sari, with also proper color scheme and statement of a professional, or what is generally described as Punjabi dresses. I would say by and large, maybe our government sector is not yet ready for like skirt blouse or the pantsuit. A corporate sector may be ready for it. So it's only that within that proper context, being properly dressed. So okay, it's your turn. All our best wishes. Knock at the door. May I come in, sir or madam? Walk a couple of steps and remember to greet. It's wish. And it could be you are most welcome to say good morning, good afternoon, etc. Or also namaste. It's not mandatory that the greeting should be only in English or something. As long as what you greet is not like party political greeting. Otherwise, feel free to relax, but remember to wish. My suggestion is you should greet the chairperson first. If the chairperson is a lady, good morning or namaste, good afternoon or namaste madam. Then rest of the panel. If the chairperson is a man, gents, then good morning, good afternoon sir. And then if on the panel there is a lady member, ensure that you specifically and respectfully address her also. And exclusively say good morning or good afternoon ma'am. It goes without saying, don't sit down unless the chairperson either says it in so many words or beckons you or like signals, okay, you may sit down. Normally, even before your greeting is over, I think the chairperson is going to say, sit down. Sit down, young man, sit down, young lady. Okay, sit down, take your seat, whatever. Various permutation. Remember to say thank you. And thank you, sir, or thank you, madam. Also, see if you don't make noise of the chair in the smooth way that you sit down. Then the posture will matter, like how you sit in the chair, not your legs stretched, not wide legs stretched, and not like wildly gesticulating or all. So it is like poise, the poise, both feet properly grounded with proper distance and your hands relaxed. Then when as the questioning, that is interaction begins, you are freely gesticulating, but the way you sit then, your posture, a proper, respectful, don't bend ahead or like don't stretch too much. Sometimes under tension we sit like this. No, not required. Be properly, use the back, you will be more relaxed. Then also for gesticulating, all I would suggest is don't go to any of the extremes. So one extreme is like you're tied into the chair and you can't move. That shows tension. Another one is there are some people who are in the habit of gesticulating so much. Hey friend, come here, let's buy the ticket and let's go to a particular movie, etc. Then that movie would be very great. Too much of gesticulating is likely to be counterproductive. This goes back to the original word spontaneous. So if someone has the habit of too much of gesticulating, then maybe some little practice is required there. Without turning artificial, but some little practice is required. Technical aspect will also bring us to the point about our voice, the proper pitch, modulations, just enough, loud enough for the panel members to hear it properly. So not like you are shouting, not like panel can't hear what you are speaking. Let there be energy in the voice. That enthusiasm, that happiness, which also reflects confidence. One of my favorite sentences about interview is, you should come across as confident but not arrogant, and polite but not submissive. It's not, don't be desperate for a job. Come on, please select me. This is my 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th attempt, etc. Okay, bride father is not conveying consent until I get a job, please. So, not required. It is about poise, so the very proper demeanor. And whether you are confident but not arrogant, and polite but not submissive, that will show in your eyes, on your face, the way you sit, the way you talk, gesticulating, pitch, diction, and voice, the quality of voice. Let that enthusiasm and confidence come across. Then eye contact is important. When you talk to the panel, look at the panel. It's not like I'm talking to the ceiling or talking to the floor. Look at the panel. Start giving your answer by looking at the panel member who asked the question. But don't just keep, you are not addressing only that panel member. Ensure that you are talking to the entire panel. It's interaction that is going on. Eye contact shows confidence. And then the interaction would happen very properly. And then proper, respectful use of the terms sir and madam. My suggestion is don't do too much of sirring. Sir. Because India's share in international trade, sir, was not much, sir. But then, sir, we got independence. And then now, sir, and said, okay, that would mean, please select me. But a very proper, respectful, again, not going to any extremes. If you don't use proper sir or madam, against your wishes, and even if when you may not mean, you may begin to sound arrogant. At the same time, if you do too much of sir, 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 and madam, 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 it's like being submissive, almost like a sycophant. So with a proper poise. And while the technical points may go on, I would shift to the second part, handling the content. They are interrelated. Across so many years, and then I have formed some sutras, if I may say. I won't call it rules. Sutras, a very quintessential Indian word. It's not a line in stone, carved in stone. But our interview would be a better one, excellent one, if you remember them. I would narrate 4. You can call it rule, you can call it sutra. One is one breath in rule, or one breath in sutra. That is, listen quietly. Listen to the full whatever question or comment. So don't cut the panel member halfway through. Never do that. Sometimes the panel member may cut you halfway through. It's okay. Don't rush into your sentence. Neither say nor appear like you want to complete your answer. How come you are asking me the question before my answer is over? Not required. Just stay cool, go to the next question. If that next question has a link with earlier one, then define that link and continue your answer. One breath in sutra would mean listen peacefully, and after the question is over, just take one normal breath in. Normal, no artificial. It's not this one. It's just normal one breath in and start your answer. Anything less than that, and you will appear like you are cutting the panel member halfway through. Anything more than that, you will come across like you are foxed, or you are not sure about the answer, so taking a long time. One breath in sutra. Second one is first sentence rule or first sentence sutra. Especially in the interview situation. This is true for also rest of the life, really. I hope you have come across like excellent officers. If you like ask them some question, okay, the answer will be in the first sentence. However complex the question is, I do say there is no question or issue in the world which cannot be like responded to in first line and one line. That is communication skill wherein practice will come into picture. But first sentence rule. Now, on being asked a question, the first sentence you speak should be directly the answer to the question. Not ifs and buts, however, notwithstanding anything contained. Or like in the main exam when we write answers, it's possible that first we build our argument, then approach a conclusion, because you have like 100, 125, 150 words. Here, it's interview, first sentence rule. That will show you as a very precise person, the man who knows what he's talking about and can succinctly state the answer. First sentence rule. Third sutra or rule is what I call as 30-second sutra or 30-second rule. Briefly, it means no single answer should go on for like more than 30 seconds. I would really suggest you practice this at home, or maybe sometimes we do record and you listen actually speaking non-stop for more than 30 seconds on one question. You will yourself begin to probably feel that the answer is becoming lengthy, verbose, and that it's not pointed. It's not like you go on and on and on in a circular fashion, never coming to a full stop and the answer. I think the panel may not give you that much of time. So somewhere the panel will cut you through. But if you develop this skill and accordingly practice of how to precisely give an answer any difficult question, but the basic one can be stated in 30 seconds. So by and large, a thumb rule or a sutra is practice and try and ensure that no single answer goes on for approximately more than 30 seconds. My next sutra is what I call as 3 rounds sutra. 3 rounds would mean, let's say, questioning begins and some chairperson or panel member posed you a question and you gave an answer. Then again the chairperson or the panel member, then he or she disagrees and they come up with a counter argument. Remember, they are coming up with a counter argument not because they are your enemies, but they want to test you. They want to see, are you aware of this angle? Are you able to respond to that? So no need to be flustered or worried, how come I stated one view and they are stating this one. But then you respond to that. 3 rounds means it's a skill, it's a communication skill, it's a, how to manage it. 3 rounds would mean on any given one particular like argument or line of explanation. My suggestion is don't just go on arguing 3 rounds. In the 3rd round, it's a skill that how you are able to properly conclude and see that it comes to a full stop. There are very many permutation combinations. If you just go on arguing and go on the same issue, I'm afraid you will begin to sound quarrelsome or argumentative. They are not welcome unless you are selected in the service. Until the point of selection, proper answers. This character attribute is important also there in the service, but coming up as a quarrelsome person, an argumentative, extending an argument is different from being argumentative. So that is that balance. And if one can draw an average in the interview situation, it is on any given like 3 rounds. And how you like properly conclude, that is a skill. There is no single answer or single line for that. Is a skill really. For example, sometimes you can say that yes sir, I respect your opinion, I don't claim to know everything, I will study the matter further. Sometimes if it is honest, it goes back to the original principle of honest. If you honestly feel what the panel member said is right, then you can say sir, I agree and I'll correct myself. There are very many. None of this will reduce your marks. In fact, trying to pose, trying to bluff another is never bluff. Don't bluff. If you don't know the answer, stay cool and say, I'm sorry sir, I don't know. Bluffing will cost you, even cost you mark. You can guess sometimes. But that too, my suggestion is, please make it clear to the panel, sir, I'm not sure, but I guess. And then the answer, so and so. So not bluffing. So 3 rounds would mean have the skill, accordingly practice that in the third exchange on the same issue, somehow you are able to conclude that issue. I am really reminded of a beautiful old Hindi song. I am a fan of old Hindi songs, including Black and White, Ka Zamana Jab Tha. This is Mahendra Kapoor. And that time when songs used to have beautiful poetry. So the line says, original song is Chalo ek baar fir se ajnabi ban jaye hum dono. So my best wishes, you don't have to encounter this situation. You get the life partner of your choice. No question of Chalo ek baar fir se ajnabi ban jaye hum dono. But the one stanza says, वो अफसाना जिसे अंजाम तक लाना न हो मुमकिन, उसे एक खूबसूरत मोड़ देकर भूलना अच्छा. That story, वो अफसाना, which cannot be brought to a particular conclusion, जिसे अंजाम तक, a consequence, then end product, we are not, उसे एक खूबसूरत मोड़ देकर, find out another path, भूलना अच्छा. No point in quarreling, no point, you just go on fighting, no point, you don't stand to gain anything. I do believe this is a principle important for life too, unless there are extreme matters of principle over there, like for example national unity and democracy and equality. But 3 round sutra, so a skill that you can conclude a particular discussion in 3 rounds. Then my next point is, we can understand interview in 4 stages. I'm saying understand, I'm not saying each interview will have 4 stages. I'm saying also when we prepare and accordingly enter the hall, we can perceive the interview in 4 stages. Now, the first stage is like initial warming up or breaking of the ice, so to say. You enter the exam hall, wish, greet, sit down, say thank you. Initial questions begin, first stage. Second stage is a takeoff. Right now warming up is like complete. Pace of questions also increases and you are taking those questions. Third and the crucial stage of the interview will be the plateau. And now free-flowing interaction has begun. Questions may come from any direction, any question. Again, out of blue, suddenly. An earlier question could be something about science and technology, and suddenly the next question could be who introduced like Persian etiquettes in Delhi Darbar. Anything, absolutely anything, current event, and then suddenly your biodata-based question. That's the skill, that is of not being flustered, being able to play. Like again, a cricketing term would be change of pace. Suddenly there is a change and you are able to negotiate that ball properly. So the third is that plateau, freewheeling goes on. And the last one would be summing up. You will begin to see in the body language of panel members, like rest of the 4 other than chairperson, maybe they put their paper down, or maybe they start looking at the chairperson, because now it's up to the chairperson to conclude. So the chairperson also, the way chairperson speaks, the voice may change, and finally the chairperson actually says, okay, thank you, young man or young lady, thank you, that's our time. Don't keep arguing or saying anything once you are like being seen off. Again, without making the noise of the chair, probably stand up, say thank you sir, or have a great day, and then walk out. Please remember that your interview does not start with the first question and it does not end with the last answer. Your interview actually starts when the previous candidate has come out, and your interview ends when the next candidate enters the hall. So are you ready there when you are to walk into the interview hall? How do you walk in? And after the chairperson indicates that now the interview is over, how do you say thank you? How do you stand up? How do you turn back? My suggestion is, like, take 2 steps back facing them. Wish them. Wish them. I remember one of our students, and that happened to be 8th of March. And there was a lady member on the panel. So when the interview was over, the chairperson signaled. He said thank you. He said thank you, madam. And then he turned towards the lady member and said, Happy International Women's Day, madam. I will say, as long as it is all honest, mind you, not concocted, not artificial. But suddenly it's a very different touch, and you showed how you are aware, at the same time respectful and egalitarian towards women. And you remember it was International Women's Day. Some such, I would say, lovely or beautiful thing. Take 2 steps back, then turn. The way you open the door, and do you shut it, bang it behind you, or it automatically gets banged, or you are careful that it doesn't bang. All of it is going to matter, even 1 mark. And all of us know that it's that competitive. So the interview is also over after you vanish from the eyesight of the panel, mind you, until it is. I must tell you, one of my most favorite serials, actually why I am saying the most favorite serial is Friends. I recommend it to everybody. So in the latter season, there is one particular interview by Chandler. And Phoebe has taken a lot of practice. And Phoebe says, just don't be Chandler and everything will be okay. And then Chandler has practiced it, given that interview. It's excellent. But after the interview is over, his penchant for cracking jokes. And of course, we know that he stands to, we have a hearty laugh, but Chandler will stand to lose that job. We want this job. So the interview is not over until you walk out. And now my last part of the talk is the essence, the kind of questions. We can, to some extent, anticipate, get ourselves ready, and still keep the mind ready for absolutely any kind of question. We can classify kind of questions that can come our way. So first of all, of course, we will remember that absolutely any question can come our way. But that any can be understood and defined for us to prepare. This relates to the previous point I just told you about 4 stages. I'll repeat. I'm not necessarily saying these will be the 4 stages. We can understand interview in these 4 stages. One of the reasons I'm suggesting this is because you can actually skillfully maneuver your interview. Well, the term maneuver is not really value-free term, almost a pejorative. I'm not saying artificially manage. I'm saying the way you respond to questions, you can shift the interview to your strong points. It goes back to knowledge of the self, being one's own natural self. And then in order to be one's own natural self, you need to know what is your natural self. Now, if you know that, then depending on the questioning, you can skillfully bring your interview onto your strong points. I remember another offer, a topper, and by now that person is an excellent officer also. His first choice was police service. And on being asked, why do you want? He said, it's a service to the country. And the panel, somebody started saying, oh, anybody comes up and answers like this. So he immediately told that actually, sir, even before, even as I have been studying for civil service exams, I'm already into a lot of social work. And he had traveled to India's northeast, studied issues over there, worked among kids and deprived sections of society. Suddenly the whole interview is on a strong point. But it's not just lip service when that candidate said, I want to join civil service because it's an opportunity to serve the country. And hundreds of such examples will continue. If you have a certain hobby, you play basuri very well, or play tabla or guitar or whatever drum set, you can respond to the questions. It's important to remember That's why perceiving the interview in 4 stages and see if you can bring your interview onto your strong points. Therefore, types of questions and also getting ready for those types of questions. The single most important area of possible questions is current events and issues. We'll need to brush up a lot. My suggestion is on the day of your interview, ensure that you have read newspapers of the day, not just one, but various newspapers of the day, and are well conversant with what are important issues for the day. And the panel may sometimes start or midway through the question may come up. Which newspapers do you read? What are important news? And then the panel may pick up any one of them for further discussion. Again, how to bring it onto your strong points. One area is, of course, current events and issues. Within those current events and issues of like national and international importance, for the interview situation, the state from which you come. And the panel may like to know, are you aware of the issues of and issues in the state? Maybe as they are important for one's own state. While all India is one and all states are our states, I am only referring to our domicile. But awareness, our general awareness that you are living life with open eyes and looking at all such data so you are able to respond. One is current. Second part is all kinds of biodata based questions. So your DAP will be in front of them. So all kinds of your birth date. If it has some relation with say some historic date or event, your birth year, and if something important happened like let's say in India, world, etc., and your answers reflect that. Actually the day of your interview, if that date has some important significance and we are well prepared for that date, then of course your overall upbringing, your place of residence, the district, if that has some, that or nearby some historic, or if that place has been in the news for some reasons, then maybe the news will be picked up. Then your school and college, again, if they have, there are many colleges in India which have great historic importance. They have played a great role. If you are from that college, the question about that college, the current position, situation of that college, and educational institution, university again, which university? Again, some different universities are known for different reasons, like with respect to some of the universities, the naming issue, what name to give, has created some social, they have a certain social background, or so all kinds of biodata based questions. My suggestion is, I would say brush up your graduation subject. Also brush up your optional subject. This is not main exam, yes, but the panel may like to know how well you are prepared. And again over there, your graduation subject, or graduation, post-graduation, etc., and your optional subject for civil service exam, especially as they relate to current events, as and where and if they relate to current events. So like get ready for all those questions. Another of my suggestion is, let me put it this way, if there is a gap of like more than 2 years between your graduation and this interview, now, be ready to explain what you have been doing for those 2 years. How you have been studying, maybe increasing your skills, maybe taking up a job as a responsible youngster, or whatever, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. A similar point is, if this is your attempt number 2 or anything more than 2, then get ready to respond to a query as to how you improved yourself, how you changed your performance with every next attempt, because that is going to show the mind that learns from previous experiences and steps up the performance. So these all kinds of biodata based questions. I'm including possible hobby in biodata based questions also. Like I said, honestly, if you have a hobby, then of course develop, but be prepared for that hobby. And if you don't have a hobby, just be ready to respond to the question and explain what are, like how you live your life, spend 24 hours which are there for every human being ready for that. Next area is to be ready for the services of our choice. Especially my suggestion will be top 3. Whatever you pick up as your top 3 you should be able to explain why they are your top 3. Whichever is at number 1 on being selected, why are you saying this is whatever? There are like hundreds of answers, but being ready for that. Also, if you prepare for some scene within the service, really pay scale, promotions, postings, various transfers, or if the services have been in the recent news for whatever reasons, then so your ability to convince why you have picked up that as like first or second or third one. Sometimes every once in a while the question may come up as to why you have not opted for a particular service. Again, being ready for that particular area. Similarly, now with the change policy, your choices for cadre allocation for especially IAS and IPS. So zone, then within that zone, and your capacity to explain it convincingly. By and large, there would almost be, I would say, a human tendency to want to work in the home cadre. There is a formula for IAS and IPS about that. But next to home cadre, which one and which zone and whatever are your reasons, etc. I would suggest you normally, allow me to repeat, here from interview situation to literally the life, let us have positive reasons for doing whatever we are doing. We are doing this thing not because we don't want to do something, but because I want to do this. Or it relates to your choice of service and cadre. It's not like saying, I don't want to join that service, so I am opted for. It's a negative answer. You should come across like you are well studied and offering a positive reason why you think also maybe your personality, your upbringing, or your character trait, and you want to pick up one particular service. But please ensure that there are no negative reasons for whatever you explain, which degree, what optional subjects, what are your likings and dislikings, etc. So service, and it relates to our choice for cadre. It's like saying, I don't want this particular cadre. I must tell you, my dear friends, it pains me really. All India is one. And when we appear for civil service exam, we should be ready to work anywhere, because all India is one. All states are our states. But unfortunately and sadly, it pains me. There are some states in the country where like many officers don't want to work. Maybe problematic. Are they not part of our country? Is it always for somebody else to then try and take that risk? So it is your answers, I suggest, reflect all India character. And like, yes, you are ready to work anywhere. We are required to learn the language because all languages are our languages. But we are really one. So as long as you are able to properly convince that, I call them as like service selection or oriented questions. The next line is what I call as situation based questions. So it's like the panel may say, imagine it's almost GS4. Or you are an officer posted at a particular place to our, like, I hope the day never comes, but there are some communal tensions, or again, unfortunately and painfully, sometimes caste tension somewhere, and you are officer there, you are required to handle the situation. Issues of social justice, environment, and you are posted over there. This is what I call as like situation based. It's like the case study part of GS4. And maybe it relates to some current event, something in the country has happened, now you are required to face it. Sometimes it's a natural calamity. I call them a situation based question. We can anticipate, properly prepare our notes. Next one is what I call as attitude or character reflecting questions. The nature of those questions, about which it's not like there is necessarily a right and a wrong answer. There is your answer. Sometimes solving some problem, but they reflect your attitude. How would you come across as an officer? Or your answers, and especially such questions where your value system becomes clear or begins to like appear. And some what I call as universal values, of course enshrined in our constitution, and that your answers honestly reflect those values. This is attitude. They show your attitude towards working in the civil service, various challenges that come our way, as long as they are again honest answers. So my dear friends, as I wish everything best for you, I'm choosing to close with one homework, if I may say. Kind of, you can prepare this. I would suggest do prepare your notes. Of course, you would give mock interviews and all. And if there is a senior to suggest you, advise you, show your notes, prepare your notes about all kinds of possible questions. And again, not parroting, but yes, what is the way of answering that? Not artificial answers. Spontaneous ones, yes. But like I said, we practice playing a beautiful cover drive wherein the ball is dispatched to a boundary. And in interview situation, smile, relax, be your own natural self, give your honest answer, and be spontaneous. I do believe all success is yours. All my best wishes for you, for all kinds of success in this interview and in the rest of life. Thank you. All the very best.